Welcome to my sports betting channel, Place Your Bets. It is the follow-up video to week number 11 in the NFL. How about we go take a look at Sunday's results and take a look at my betting board. Right. Sunday's results, week number 11, NFL. Commanders versus the Dolphins. Dolphins were a 2.5-point favorite. Look at that. 16-13. Dolphins, good job. Packers versus the Giants. Packers were a 7-point favorite. Money line minus 350. Oh, look at that score. 27-20 Packers. Battle of the 6 and 3s. Buccaneers versus the Bills. I watched that game. It was pretty good up until the Bills finally just took over. 32-44. Bills were a 5.5-point favorite. I want to mention something. I had never seen this before. A virtual measurement system. Never heard of it. I guess I'm not watching enough NFL games this year because it was 4th and inches and they did not bring the chains out to measure how close the ball was to getting a first down. And they used a virtual measurement system. And I just was like, what? I had to look that up. So, wow, the NFL is, here's the future, folks. No more chain measurement. They now use a VMS to measure 4th down in inches. Kind of sad. Next game, Bengals versus the Steelers. Steelers were a 5.5-point favorite. 12-34. Steelers are back on that winning track. They were a minus 235. That's why I took that bet. Texans versus the Titans. Texans. 16-13. I think they won it in the last couple of seconds. Took that game because I like the money line, minus 285. Bears versus the Vikings. Vikings were a 2.5-point favorite. Oh, look who won. The Bears. 19-17. Vikings keep confirming that they are an unreliable bet, and I have been saying that. There's a reason why I did not bet on that game. They're unreliable. Panthers versus the Falcons. Falcons were a 3.5-point favorite. Well, look who won. Panthers. 30-27. Chargers versus the Jaguars. Chargers were a 3-point favorite. They didn't even bother to get on the plane to go play this football game. Look at the score. 35-6. And the reason why I did not bet on this game, money line was minus 150. But boy, they got whooped. Chargers got whooped bad. Seahawks versus the Rams. Battle of the 7 and 2s. Rams were a 3-point favorite. I hope you didn't bet on the spread. Look at that. Won by 2 points. Money line minus 175. I said it was going to be the game of the day. I saw the highlight reel. It looked like the game of the day. Seahawks are still really good, but the Rams are just a little bit better. 49ers versus the Cardinals. 49ers were a 3-point favorite. Look at that. You know, the 49ers are so up and down. You know, they can't win at home, but they can win on the road. I don't get it. I didn't bet on that game either. Money line minus 160. Out of my comfort zone. Ravens versus the Browns. Ravens were a 7.5-point favorite. They won that game 23-16. Money line minus 425. That's my comfort zone. Chiefs versus the Broncos. Chiefs were a 3.5-point favorite. Well, I picked the upset. Denver's playing very, very well. They're almost a sure bet. Almost. Look at that upset. 22-19. Money line minus 210, but not 210 for Denver, but it was 210 for the Chiefs. I loved that bet. I took it. I knew Denver was going to win. Lions versus the Eagles. Two very good teams. Eagles, 2.5-point favorite. I watched that game. Look at that. 16-9. Also, another thing they used in this game that I was completely unaware of. Replay assist. I had to look it up. I just, I guess I have not been watching enough NFL this year because they've have introduced so much technology that I had to look it up, like that virtual measurement system, replay assist. I was like, what's that? So, technology in the NFL. Monday night, Cowboys versus the Raiders. Cowboys were a 3.5-point favorite. Well, God, look who got whooped at home. The Raiders, 33-16. All right, let's take a look at my betting board. All right, my betting board. I had a fantastic weekend. My Sunday games, I won every single one of my bets. I won the Moneyline Packers, $5. Bills money line, $5. Steelers money line, $5. Texans money line, $5. Chiefs, remember, I had that upset bet. Boy, what a great game. I knew Denver was going to pull that one off. I had the $5 money line, the plus 170. I converted $5 to $13. Lions versus the Eagles. Eagles, very good win. $5 money line, converted the $5 to $8.57. Money line was minus 155, a little out of my comfort zone. Remember, I'm a little bit more comfortable with the 250, the 235, 285, a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I converted $5 to $8.57. And you can see how with the money line, the minus 350, I did $5. I converted $5 to $6 and I think 49 cents. So you can see how much money you make depending on the money line. I did great. I had a great weekend. I have a new total, 123.86. I had 3 parlays. My first parlay converted $1 to $1.80. Second parlay converted that parlay from $1 to $1.93. My third parlay, I converted $1 to $4.63. because of the Denver upset. How cool is that? And then my record is 45-19. So you can see, even though I'm a small unit bettor and I'm betting conservative and I'm not taking a lot of risks, you can make money doing this. I started out with $75. Yeah, we're in week 11. It's slow going. It is. But for me, it's just, I like watching my bankroll grow. I mean, yeah, it's been agonizingly slow, like a snail slow, but it's fun. Now I've got some wiggle room. I've got money to play with. So if I want to do a couple of side bets, like a $2.50 spread bet, I can do that, and it's okay if I win it, great. If I don't, that's fine. It's $2.50. Like I said, I've got some room to work with. I got some little bit of extra money to play with. The whole idea is to build that bankroll. When I do get to the playoffs, I do want to do $20 bets, $25 bets. But in order to do that, I've got to get my bankroll built up, and it's finally I'm really comfortable with it. And I like the way it's progressing. Agonizingly slow, yes. But when you're betting $5 money lines on 6 games, some of these money lines you're only going to win, $1.49, I won $2 there. I converted $5 to $7.13 on this money line. I converted $5 to $6.75. So yeah, it's slow, but I don't mind that. I'm not in a hurry. My big win was Denver, converting $5 to $13. So anyway, my Monday night loss, I probably would have wound up with $128, $129, but the Raiders didn't bother to show up. Yeah, they have now fallen in the unreliable category when it comes to betting. So yeah, I'm kind of done with the Raiders. Anyway, I just I held out hope that they would win, but they're done like well done steak. All right, I think I've covered the betting board. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking out my channel. And we will see you in week number 12.